I'm tired. I'm very tired. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another MonsterVerse news roundup. That's right, in this video we are going to be continuing to run down the Godzilla MonsterVerse history of the things that happened. In this video, we are going to be continuing our chronological progression of MonsterVerse news, making our way from 2021 all the way up to the modern day. In this video, we will be doing a special highlight on some events from April and May of 2022. I gotta start introing these videos different because I've seen a lot of new viewers lately and they don't know what we're doing on the channel, so they're wildly confused why I'm covering old news. So I'm gonna try and make it more clear in the intro now. We're going in order. We're catching up. So this video is gonna be a little different than normal. In this one, we are gonna be focusing all of our attention on one specific story, that being Godzilla vs. Kong's #1 crossover. Godzilla vs. Kong has had a bunch of crossovers, from Magic Domain to Go Big to Godzilla Battle Line to Life After, Day After Tomorrow, to World of Warships, to PUBG Mobile, and so on. And in a previous video, I teased that the PUBG Mobile crossover was a teaser, in a sort of way, for an epic crossover that was gonna come. In this video, it is time to talk about that epic crossover. Okay, let's keep rolling with it. Call of Duty Warzone. Big game, a lot of people love it. It's another one of those battle royales where a bunch of guys just drop into the map and then you shoot each other and then one team is left and then that team wins. It's like Fortnite or Apex or any of those types of games. Another Warzone is a really popular version of that, and I've played Warzone a couple times and really enjoyed it. I used to be an enormous Call of Duty fan, as I used to make videos on COD all the time. I was mostly a zombies guy, but I really enjoyed the multiplayer on Black Ops 2 and 3, so it is fun to go play a little multiplayer every now and then, and this is a great way to do that. Anyways, long story short, COD Warzone was launching a new season in April 2022, and they teased that they received a strange transmission in an epic cinematic video. In this transmission, we can hear the Orca sound and Godzilla's roar. This led a lot of people, including myself, to go, surely they're just using those assets. They're not gonna do a crossover with Godzilla, are they? And then they did. They did. If I was a kid and you told me 10 years ago Godzilla was gonna be in Call of Duty with Kong, I would have died. I would have been so excited, I would have peed my pants and died. It would have been the coolest thing ever, and instead, it happened when I'm in college and I had no time to play it. I only got to play it a couple times, and it was freaking phenomenal. I really loved it. I had a great time with it, but I didn't get to play it much. Anyways, then they teased that Titan-infused weapons were coming. It's kind of a similar idea to the energy source from Godzilla vs. Kong, some Titan-infused weapons, including a Godzilla gun that had like a flamethrower that's like an atomic breath, which is really awesome. Then we got the COD X Godzilla vs. Kong teaser poster showing Godzilla swimming up on Caldera. I think that's what the island's called. I don't really remember. Operation Monarch released a second teaser showing a drone picking up Skullcrawler bones and Kong bones, teasing that the Boneyard was now on Caldera. And then you finally end it with Kong's roar, so a cool Kong teaser to go with the Godzilla one. Next up, we got a promo photo showing soldiers running around in front of Kong's axe, and the scale of it is incredible. It looks great. They did a phenomenal job with all of the skins in this game. The axe looks incredible. The Boneyard looked incredible. Everything they added looked phenomenal. This is, I believe, our only look at what a AAA studio can do with Godzilla and Kong. Maybe the one who did the PS4 game was a big AAA studio, I would doubt it. But this is our look at what the potential for a MonsterVerse game could be and how beautiful it is. And it really made me rethink my perspective on things like Godzilla Strike Force or City Shrouded in Shadow, or even, in my opinion, Godzilla King of the Monsters to a certain extent. And I went, wouldn't it be cool to see a game or a movie told entirely from the perspective of the humans while the monsters are there up above you? Kind of like a Cloverfield thing, but shot better. I don't know. I thought that this game was fantastic, and it really opened my eyes to the potential that you don't need to play as Godzilla and Kong in a video game to have an effective Godzilla vs. Kong video game, or an effective MonsterVerse game at all. I know that's what a lot of people want, but as I've always said, it would be fun to have a dual campaign, and after this, I'm really feeling like I was proved right. Having the soldiers running around doing war while Godzilla and Kong are attacking the map was an incredible game mechanic. It was so much fun, and it really opened my eyes to the idea that a Godzilla video game down the line could definitely definitely have the potential to have both a human dedicated story and a monster dedicated story. So you can still knock down buildings and fight kaiju, but also you can have that like intense, you're running around in a world with giant monsters fear, which is super fun. I also love the scale of the axe. I believe it's scaled accurately to the movie, so that is what it would look like if those guys were running around with the axe. And I like that in the game you can actually climb up and run around on it. Operation Monarch was revealed. That's what this was all building to. Call of Duty X Operation Monarch, the Godzilla vs. Kong crossover with Call of Duty. We have some posters for it, and it looks incredible, man. It looks great. These posters are super cool. Like I said, every asset in this game looked incredible. Godzilla looked amazing, and so did Kong. I was really impressed with their Godzilla. I thought their Godzilla looked and moved incredible, and I thought the Kong was actually very impressive. I think the fur is a little harder for them to do, so that's why I was still impressed with what they pulled off with it. Also, I love that in this poster you have the Halo jumpers in the background. Great little touch. Good stuff, man. This was clearly made by fans, and I love it. The trailer was released showing their incredible Kong model destroying a plane out of the air, only for Godzilla to swim up into the ocean, and then the two to charge at each other, Kong to jump, Godzilla to get ready to atomic breath him, and it all ends in an incredible freeze frame. So good, man. This is almost in a way like we're getting a look at Godzilla vs. Kong 2. Not that that's a movie that's gonna happen, but it's kind of fun to just go, yeah, I would still love to see those two monsters fight over and over again. I would never get bored of it, and I would love to see it in different settings, and this kind of gives me an indication of like an alternate reality where we got that Skull Island fight that so many of us were anticipating in Godzilla vs. Kong, a fight where Godzilla and Kong fight on the island, and this is our best look at that. And they actually don't fight in the game either. When they're implemented into the game, they're more of like obstacles for the player to avoid. They're not really fighting the way they were in, let's say, the PUBG Mobile crossover. But I still thought it was very cool. I think it would have been cooler if they did a big season finale where they fought and it was like a Fortnite event, but to my knowledge, they didn't do that. Maybe I'm wrong and you guys can impress me and I'll be like, hell yeah, and can't wait to talk about it in another video, but to my knowledge, they never actually go to blows. Kong has an incredible model that I actually think is almost in the trailer, not in the game, but in the trailer, almost a little better than the one in Godzilla vs. Kong. He's a little less bulky, a little more slim, and looks a little more like the 2017 Kong. I also like the way that he grabs that plane out of the sky and smashes it. It's not really a Kong thing to do, but it's still a lot of fun to see. And then I love the way Godzilla approaches from the sea, because again, it gives us that indication of what that alternate reality would have looked like where we got to see that happen, where we get to see them fight on Skull Island. Godzilla rises up out of the water, similar to in the 2014 movie. And the Godzilla model is also fantastic, especially when it does the close-up shot of the head. You really see that they put a lot of great detail into this thing. I have noticed a lot of people pointed out as well that the roar is slowed and pitched in this trailer. It sounds a little awkward, I agree. But I do love the way Kong charges down that mountain and leaps at Godzilla to attack right as his spines crackle to life. Good stuff. Really hype trailer, and honestly, that'd be a hype teaser for Godzilla vs. Kong the movie, even if that scene doesn't happen in it. That would still be a hype thing if they released it before the movie came out. It'd be super cool. Incredible trailer, good stuff, and the best thing about this trailer, not only the graphics looked really crazy good for a video game, but Bear McCreary, the composer of Godzilla King of the Monsters, returned to compose the trailer for this. So he actually got to play around in the world of Godzilla vs. Kong, even though he didn't get to compose that movie. Good job for him. I think that's an incredible opportunity, and as a fan, I'd be so hyped to have that opportunity, even if it was for a video game. I'd be like, this is still good enough, and I love it. In retrospect, I should have known, because the soundtrack is really good for that teaser, but it's got that chanting, that chanting that Bear loves so much. He loaded King of the Monsters soundtrack with that chanting, and it's all over this trailer, and it's like, that's kind of his signature touch with Godzilla. It's actually kind of funny to look at it now and go, oh yeah, I could see what he was doing there. Adam Wingard announced the Godzilla vs. Kong X Call of Duty Warzone crossover. I always think it's funny when Adam Wingard announces stuff like this. I believe he did one for PUBG Mobile as well, and it's like, do you think he even knows what these games are? Sometimes I get the impression that, like, I believe it was PUBG Mobile that he did one for, and I'm like, I don't even think he knows what that game is. At least in this case, it seems that he legitimately had some creative involvement in this, which is really awesome. Good for him. I would love to ask him about that someday if I get to talk to him. I really like knowing that Legendary was really hands-on with this project and wanted to loaded up with Easter eggs for the fans so that it could really feel like a fan experience and be something that we could celebrate. And in my opinion, they knocked it out of the park. I'm really curious to know what you guys thought of this crossover, so please tell me down below. Did you love it as much as I did? Again, I only got to play it for like maybe 3 or 4 hours worth of gameplay, but those were 3 or 4 fantastic hours. I had a really good time with that. And I don't love me a Warzone just because the sweats are all over that game. It's really hard to accomplish anything given how skilled the players are, but I still had a really fun time with this. Okay, so we have a bunch of details regarding this crossover. There's a bunch of promotional photos that were released for it, so I'm going to run through all of those details really quickly here. So this Call of Duty crossover started on April 27th. That's when Monarch started to load up the island of Caldera. There was a ton of Easter eggs placed all over the map, and then between May 11th and May 25th of 2022, Godzilla and Kong were actively in the map. KDM teased that this crossover was coming by posting a picture of Godzilla fighting an unknown titan in another cave painting fashion. The Monsterverse loves its cave paintings. It did that trick in Kong Skull Island and everybody loved it, and they have loved it and just, in my opinion, milked it a little too hard, but they love it. They have been using it ever since. That being said, cool picture. I like Godzilla fighting this guy. I don't know what that guy is. A lot of people say he looks like Anguirus. I don't really think he looks like Anguirus. I mean, I see the resemblance for sure, don't get me wrong, but that tail isn't an Anguirus tail at all. I don't know what that guy is. I have no idea who this monster is. I would be willing to bet we won't see this monster appear in the Monsterverse, but you know what? If we do, this was an incredible way to tease it. It's great foreshadowing, super early in advance, very cool stuff. I think that's a really neat trick if they did that. It's almost as neat as spinning, I would say. And you know what? I would be willing to put money on it right here, right now. You can quote me on this in a year if I'm wrong, and if I'm right, or I don't... You can use it against me or for me, however you want. I don't care. I would be willing to bet that the monster seen in this painting has more of a likelihood of appearing in Godzilla and Kong than the flying space Godzilla we see in the cave painting from the concept art. I don't have any evidence to suggest that. I would just be willing to bet that that flying Godzilla in the concept art has less likely chance of appearing than whatever this guy is. Okay, so running through a lot of the additions they put in this game, because they did put a lot in and we saw a lot of these things revealed through promotional photos and whatnot. The boneyard with Kong's bones and Skullcrawler bones were added to the game. I think it's really neat that they added Skullcrawler bones. It's a cool touch. Monoliths were added to the map featuring Godzilla's name on it. Some also featured the Kong handprint, but mostly it was a lot of Godzilla monoliths that I believe would glow blue when he was about to do his atomic breath in the area. Some wallpapers were released, so we have an official wallpaper for the game featuring Godzilla and Kong. I don't think this one is as good as the poster, but Godzilla and Kong and then the soldiers in the foreground. There's a thumbnail version of Godzilla and Kong that was for the official teaser trailer. And then there was an objectives wallpaper posted showing that same poster from earlier, same wallpaper, but now you have your objectives of what you're supposed to be doing in the game. The game was divided into Godzilla, Kong, and Mechagodzilla factions, so you got to pick your team and pick what merch you wanted to buy, basically. A lot of skins and loot and whatnot. We had Godzilla Operator and Kong Operator posters. Really cool. I love the skins here. I love Godzilla and Kong in the background, but I love the skins here. I love the suits. I think the Godzilla one looks incredible, but I do love the Kong axe. I think the Kong axe is cooler than the Godzilla weapon, but I think the Godzilla skin is way cooler than the Kong skin. We have pictures of those skins in motion in-game doing their thing. We also have photos of the Godzilla skin and the Kong skin with their weapons, so that's cool as well. I like that the Kong weapon is green. I don't know why, but it is a neat way to change it up from previous. There's also a Kong Operator bundle that you could get that would come with that green gun. There's a Mechagodzilla skin. I believe there was actually 2 Mechagodzilla skins. I think there was a chunkier and a thinner one, but there's a Mechagodzilla skin that was revealed. This was the Mechagodzilla Operator, and it also came with a weapon that shot red lasers. Super cool. And then again, there was a bundle pack so you could get them together. In addition, they added fatalities into the game so you could come up and execute players from behind that would give them this little cutscene, and we have a Godzilla fatality and a Mechagodzilla fatality. We also have Godzilla, Kong, and Mechagodzilla fatalities. I think the Kong one's kind of lame. And in addition, we have some posing of the characters as well. I believe that's if they win, something like that. Operation Monarch had a final trailer. This was the second trailer release. This one doesn't really show a ton of new footage, but it shows a lot of the same footage, all color graded different, and we do get some cool clips sprinkled within that, so that's a lot of fun. There's also things called the Titan Frenzies, which had like Godzilla Strike and Kong Strike. So the way that worked was if you shot the Titans a lot, you'd collect intel, and then using that intel you could activate a Titan Frenzy, which basically meant you could target Godzilla's atomic breath somewhere using the Orca, or you could have Kong throw a rock somewhere. But we have photos of them in-game, and the in-game model for Kong does not look nearly as good as that cutscene model, but I believe the in-game model for Godzilla looks pretty much just as good. And those in-game photos just kept rolling out, so we got to see a lot of stuff. Godzilla never really makes landfall in the game, but he does come on the beaches. Meanwhile, Kong runs around the whole map and is free to leap around wherever he wants. Whenever Godzilla wants to travel somewhere new, he would just swim away, and then he would show up somewhere else on the outskirts of the island. Gormoru Island posted some Operation Monarch gameplay footage that basically just shows off the way those Titan frenzies work. And then we had a lot of incredibly talented content creators making videos on this event. I want to give a shout out to the Gaming Revolution, who did a breakdown of all of the Godzilla and Kong Easter eggs in Operation Monarch prior to Godzilla and Kong being implemented into the game. In this video, he breaks down things such as Monarch being everywhere, their influence being everywhere, the Skull Island Boneyard being replicated, Godzilla and Kong monoliths being added to the map, players getting intel that lets them send out an Orca strike that can either lead to Kong throwing a boulder into a strike zone or Godzilla shooting his atomic breath. The atomic breath would kill everyone in a straight line instantly and leave behind a burning effect. Meanwhile, the boulder would cause a massive circumference of damage that would down any players in the area and put them into last stand mode. Cave paintings depicting Hellhawks, Doug, crab critters, Godzilla and Kong fighting, basically straight up from the Godzilla King of the Monsters post-credits, and the Skullcrawlers versus the Warbats, teasing that idea that a lot of us talked about, that maybe the Warbats are the predators to the Skullcrawlers. Super cool idea, and I love seeing it here in this game. There's also that cave painting I talked about earlier of Godzilla fighting that unknown spiky dragon looking guy. Footprints were added to the map for both Godzilla and Kong's axe was added into the map, although I don't think Kong ever picks it up and swings it around. I think it's just part of the map. Additionally, there's a content creator named Mike's Monsters, who I highly recommend you go and check out his channel. I really enjoyed watching his video about this event.
It was very fun being possibly the first people to discover this hidden cave painting featuring a new Titan that has yet to be identified.
I think he's got a really nice voice to listen to, and I thought that the video was edited in a really cool way. He put together a montage showing off a lot of the highlights from this Operation Monarch event, featuring some of the executions, some of the cool, fun, silly Godzilla and Kong moments, and some epic moments as well. He also touches on what happens if you win the game, and you get to see cutscenes of Kong getting swallowed up by the nasty green fog that I guess is basically the storm that kills you on that game, or Godzilla shooting his beam into the sky at the ocean, kind of like in King of the Monsters. But yes, basically, if you've seen gameplay footage in this video, it comes from him, so please go check him out, show him some support. He definitely deserves it. I have that link down below, so don't miss it. Finally, Talent House teamed with Operation Monarch to do a poster competition, so fans could submit their posters and they would pick some winners, showing off their favorite fan-edited posters. These could be photoshops or they could be hand-drawn posters, and their first two winners they announced were Chris Kremp and Scotty Bates. So big shout out to those two artists. They did great work. All right, that'll do it for this one, guys. What did you guys think of Operation Monarch? Did you play it? Did you enjoy it? What do you feel about a Godzilla game in the future where you're a human and the monsters are running around destroying stuff and it's kind of like this game? Are you open to that idea, or do you just want to smash stuff as the monsters, which is also cool? Make sure to comment all that below and let me know, but I'm done here for today. I have officially started school again, so I'm going to be uploading a lot less frequently than I used to, which, yeah, it sucks, but that is the reality of it. We all know that. My goal is to try and post once a month, so we'll see how that goes. I never said how long the videos would be or what type of content I'd be posting, or even if I never said I'd do it for sure either. I just said I want to, but we'll see. It gets really busy around mid-March, and that's life. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Their support means a ton for me. It really helps me keep making videos like this for you guys. Basically, it's the one thing holding me up from getting a job that would replace all the time that I have to make these videos. So please consider supporting the Patreon. It really means a lot to me. You can do that using the link in the description below, where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community to chat with me and some others, and more. And that'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.